Welcome to Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe, and I'm here with the co-host
CGO.
CGO or George. We are releasing this on the 18th of May, 2026. And in the news on Sunday, we had a couple of Premier League games. We had Brentford tie Crystal Palace 2-2. We had Man United beat Nottingham Forest 3-2. We had Leeds beat Brighton 1-0. We had Wolves Fulham 1-1. We had Sunderland beat Everton 3-1, and Newcastle beat West Ham 3-1. Around the continent, there was some other news. It looks increasingly likely that Jose Mourinho is going to return to Madrid. We had a couple farewells across the continent from Lewandowski and Griezmann. Rafinha scored an absolutely fantastic free kick. We had the French League. It's the last day today, so PSG does not play for 2 more weeks before the Champions League final, which we've talked is probably an advantage for them. But let's start, George, with Premier League. George, it struck me today is like none of these games were super relevant. I think that maybe some shakeups in terms of the European races, but no, I don't think anything super consequential for the season was really shook out today. What do you think?
I would say that there are no consequences for today's game because if Brentford has defeated Crystal Palace, that would have also boosted their chance of making it to maybe playing in Europe next season. But playing a draw is not a good result for them. Same thing applies to Everton, losing at home to Sunderland 3-1. It has a very big negative impact on their chance of playing Europe because now Sunderland even has a chance to make it to Europe because currently they are on 9th position and then they have about 51 points. So you can see if they can get a win in their last game, and then that means they can get 54 points. And if Brighton, which has 53, loses their game, that means that they can play in Conference League next season. So I think the games we had today, there are some of them that had consequences. Brighton lost to Leeds United 1-0. That is something that has consequence because if Brighton had won today's game, they would have been on 56 points, which means they even have a chance to even surpass Liverpool because Liverpool has 59 points. So if they had won, they will have 56 points. And then if they are able to win their last game, Liverpool lose their last game, that means Liverpool's goal difference will reduce, which their own.
Bournemouth is playing at home against Manchester City on Tuesday, and tomorrow Arsenal play Burnley, and Arsenal are at home. So there's a lot that actually could shake out in the next 2 days. The title could be over in 48 hours by Tuesday night, which is crazy. I think Bournemouth is very motivated. I think Arsenal's going to win. If they drop points, I think it's going to be at Palace. I don't think it's going to be at home to Burnley. Man City, I think they're going to win both, but if they're going to slip up, I think this is probably the one that they'd slip up on. So it's a really interesting week for the title race, and there's implications all the way down. Because if Bournemouth does lose, then it does steal Liverpool's Champions League spot, and it does make that race back exciting. And they're not playing some gimme game. So it is really interesting, really consequential for this week's games. And luckily, this is we have our last week of games. We have games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Relegation battle could also be over come Tuesday because we have Spurs playing Chelsea, and this is a game. If you want to get points, Chelsea is probably a team that you want to play right now if you're Tottenham. So I don't think that they need much. West Ham did not look good today at all. I'll say that. I watched this game. They had a fantastic strike from Castellanos. It was just a beautiful, beautiful goal. But all of 3 of Newcastle's goals were, in my opinion, well worked, good for Newcastle. But I felt not the quality of defense that's going to keep this West Ham team up, which is a shame because they've actually pushed decently hard this spring.
But Joe, if you look at the first 2 goals Newcastle scored against West Ham United at St. James's Park today, you see those goals were as a result of the errors made by the West Ham players. So they were the cause of their own undoing today, making mistakes. And when you make such mistake against a Newcastle team playing in front of their fans, they will surely punish you. And that was what happened to them. You notice in the second half, they tried to come out to fight to see if they can redeem their image. unfortunately for them, they conceded a third goal. And if you look at that third goal, it was also an error. So West Ham were the biggest enemies of themselves today
Yeah.
against Newcastle. If they hadn't considered that third goal, maybe they would have maybe gotten a draw. But when you concede 3 goals against Newcastle, you don't have that chance of maybe turning the table around. It's very difficult, especially when they are playing at home. It's difficult for you to uh, turn the table around. That was what happened to West Ham. I felt so sorry for their fans today because they were very, very disappointed. In fact, some of them left the stadium before the
Yeah.
end of the game. So it was a very sad one for West Ham.
I mean, West Ham, if they end up going down, I mean, they've had a fantastic 13-year run where they've won a European trophy. There've been a couple of years where they've been flirted with the bottom, but they've been a couple of years where they flirted with Europe, yeah, and came away with the trophy. I think they had a fantastic 13, 14-year run. I think they got promoted in 2012. And so I'm really excited to see a reworked version of West Ham. I think Bowen will probably head out, but there's a lot of Somerville too. But um, who knows? We'll see a revamped West Ham. I believe in a year. I think they're one of the better equipped teams to go down and come right back up.
Joe, they have very good players in that team that I'm sure even some of the top teams will still come and sign. A player like Somerville, uh, he was in short in today's game, he was very, very outstanding the way he performed. One good thing I like about him is when it comes to one-on-one beating a defender, he's very good at it. He's not a player that one person can just stop. He's
No,
so good when it comes to dribbling, when it comes to creating
but he's
chances,
composed.
making space.
He's good at picking his spots. Like if
Yes.
he's one-on-one with the defender, he's a heck second help defender coming over. He's gonna pass it around. A lot of the young guys, you see them try and do too much. And Somerville is a really good head on the shoulders, really good at recycling the ball in possession when that opportunity is not available. I think he'll be snatched up for sure. If Anthony Gordon leaves Newcastle, which is a possibility, I think that Somerville could, that could be a possibility. I'm not sure. Do you feel like Somerville has the talent to go to a top club like Semenyo or did or any number of other players or Trossard?
For me, if Somersville is better than a Garnacho. When you look at in terms of
Well,
output, when it comes
Garnacho's not at a top club anymore.
no, but Garnacho plays for Chelsea. I would rather take a Somersville
Chelsea's
to
in
play in
10th place.
Chelsea. See, let me tell you, one of the problems Chelsea is having now, which has made their attack not to be very dangerous, is the wingers are not very good when it comes to one-on-one beating defenders.
I do
And
feel
then
like
when it comes to shooting and scoring goals, they've not been doing that.
Esteval and Neto can't score goals. He can beat a guy. And Esteval can do both. He's just hurt right now. He's also 17 or 18 or something and can't play every single game. And he's also hurt. I get that. But
Apart from Estava, who else? Garnacho
Neto,
is not doing that.
Neto can't beat a guy. He can beat a guy and create space. He's not the best at finishing, but I do believe he's a good player. I like watching Neto. He's an entertaining player. He's really good at creating space to get a cross in. But I can see your frustration with him.
So if you are to compare the dribbling ability of Somersville and Neto, who is better off? Neto is only has pace. He's a pacey player. But when it comes to dribbling a defender and take them out to create space, he's not good at doing that. That's the problem I have with Neto. I can have Neto to be in the squad to be like a backup because I will always prefer him over Garnacho. But I will put a Somersville, I'll pick him ahead of Neto when it comes to being a very big threat to our defenders. That's the reality.
George, I think Gerard Bowen will also find a home elsewhere in the Premier League. I could see him I think he's a solid. What is he, like 29 or something like that? He could have gone to Liverpool 5 years ago. He could have gone to any club in the world or any club in England 5 years ago and contributed to the squad. He's decided to stay at West Ham. I do think that as a player who's 29, 30, however old he is, he's going to want to jump because he only sees a couple years left in his career. Even I still think he'll be very good next year. What type of club do you see him going to if he decides to leave, if West Ham go down?
I think somebody like Bowen can play for a team like Tottenham. I'm sure if he's in Tottenham, he's going to get a spot in that team because ask yourself, who are those playing for Tottenham that are really better off apart from maybe a player like Kulisevsky who has been injured. I can't think of any Tottenham winger that is better off than Bowen. And apart from that, Bowen is a utility player. Apart from playing from the right, he's somebody that can also play as a number 10. Sometimes he also plays as a false nine. So
Yeah.
he's
He can play
somebody
on
that,
either wing too. Like,
yes,
yeah, you're
yeah.
100% right. He does not rely on pace. I feel like his eight game. I mean, he has pace and he'll use it, and it's in his locker. I don't feel like he relies on it, so I think his game is going to transition well. He strikes me as a guy who's a great leader in the locker room too, and is going to set culture, which I think Tottenham needs. I think that's a good shout out. And if Tottenham you want to stabilize and get 10th for a couple seasons before really trying to climb back up, I think Bowen's the type of signing they really need.
And apart from that, a Bowen can even be like a squad player for teams like Chelsea, teams like Manchester United. He's going to add value. He might not be the main person, but he can be like a backup. And I'm telling you, he's going to do very well because he's a very experienced player. He knows how to shoot very well. He's somebody that is he has the quality to play at least for a club like Manchester United or maybe Chelsea or Liverpool. He
Yeah,
might not be the main guy, but at least he can be like a backup player for these big clubs. Whenever I
yeah.
see him play, it reminds me of this guy called Leandro Trossard. They have some similarity in the way they play. When it comes to shooting, those guys are very good when it comes to shooting the
Yeah,
ball
both neither
into the
guy is
net.
reliant on pace. I'll say the big difference is like Bowen. I mean, has played a lot more minutes. I feel than Trossard this season has done for a while. Trossard kind of I feel like benefits from he doesn't have to play every single minute at Arsenal, so he's able to. And I think he looks worse when he does play a full 90 minutes. But I do think the best version of Trossard when he's at his best is a fantastic player. I think he's a good comp for Bowen. So that's good. George, what about the other games today? Man United, Nottingham Forest. This was an interesting game. Um, Morgan Gibbs White scored a goal. Elliot Anderson had an assist. There's rumors about him leaving. He's had a fantastic season. Morgan Gibbs White almost left last season. He's on the short list for
Yes.
Player of the Year. Nottingham Forest now safe. What did you think about the game today?
Well, I think it was a very interesting game. Happy that Bruno Fernandes was able to equal the record of Kevin De Bruyne and Thierry Henry. He now has his 20th assist of the season, which is a very good one for him. Quite commendable. You can see that even the players have to go to him to go and celebrate that. The issue is that there was an incident that happened in this game. I don't know if you saw it. The
I
second goal
did.
scored by
I
Koa,
did.
and there were questions if that ball by Brian Bremo was an handball. But I was able to go through the rules of IFAB, and one of the things they made clear there was when a ball hits a player and the player ends up not scoring the goal, and maybe the other teammate scores based on the new rule which has been revised, it's counted as a goal. I guess that was why
Yeah.
after VAR review, they counted it to go. We've been seeing a lot
George,
of people complaining online
I
on.
understand that technically this was a goal because I looked up the rule change. I didn't know. The handball rules changed so many times, and I do feel like the hand was outside the body. It hit his hand. It gave Manchester United an advantage. It should be called off. Based on the spirit of the game, I feel. I understand technically the ref made the right call. I am not saying any of that. Manchester United probably would have won anyway, but this is a great avenue to talk about this. The spirit of the game is if your hand gives you an advantage, that should not, in my opinion, to the spirit of the game, that should be a handball. If your hand is
Yes.
outside your body, not in a natural position, and gives you an advantage in any capacity, I also feel like maybe refs should have some discretion defensively. If a player's hand is like a little bit out of his body and the ball is blasted, to maybe have an indirect free kick or something like that in the box. I feel like a penalty could be too harsh in certain scenarios, especially if a guy is sliding or on the ground and his hand is he's trying to stabilize himself. Anywhere can be a natural position. You can make your body bigger to protect yourself. I do feel like there needs to be a clear understanding and a clear implementation across the continent, and I don't feel like there is right now. There's different rules in the Champions League. We talked about that last week with the Bayern PSG game. Today's game, this rule doesn't make sense. I mean, sorry, they called it correctly based on the rule. The rule doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they should simplify everything and just say if your hand's outside your body gives you an advantage, it's a hand.
Remember, we had similar incidents when Chelsea played Leeds United at Stamford Bridge. The goal that Leeds United scored, the incident that led to the goal they scored, which Noah Okafor scored, it was an handball by the player, but the person who committed the handball wasn't the scorer of the goal. So at the end of the day, the goal stood. So it was a similar scenario. So when I saw it happen, I knew it's most likely to go through. But like you rightly said, sometimes rules like that, when you have handball, sometimes the rules can make decisions a bit complicated.
This decision was not complicated by the letter of the law. You're right. It is a simple, straightforward decision by the letter of the law. What I'm saying is the letter of the law contradicts the spirit of the law here. It's like, I don't know how else to say it.
So Joe, when I'm saying complicated, I'm talking about from the side of the fans, because we have those who make these rules. So sometimes when we are making rule, we must make sure it's something that can be easily related with the fans, because the essence of football is to make the fans happy. So when you put rules that create a lot of confusion amongst fans, in fact, when it was revised, so many people are not even aware of the change in the rule, because formally, when such an incident happens, it is overruled. But
I watched a lot of football, and I did not know that until today. This rule was changed.
I only found out that when Chelsea played against Leeds United, that was when I realized that it's now there in the rule. So I guess IFAB has a lot of job to do when it comes to creating awareness. Where we have changes like this being made, I think there should be more awareness so that football fans, football aficionados can all be aware of changes like this, because at the end of the day, we don't want to see lots of arguments, controversy over what is right and what is wrong, especially when it comes to officiating or very important incidents like this. So that's the point.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. All right, George, let's talk through one last thing. Jose Mourinho is looking increasingly likely to Madrid. I'd say it's 90% at this point. There's rumors that he is going after Rodri as his number one signing, of which we have both identified as this is somebody who absolutely, I think that's exactly what Madrid needs. Do you feel like that would transform Madrid into one of the best teams in Europe again?
Definitely, we all know the capability, the quality of Rodri. Rodri is that player. If you look at the way Rodri plays, he has some similarity with Toni Kroos, the way he handles the midfield. And we've been saying it, Real Madrid need a player of that profile of Toni Kroos, players that can dictate the pace of the game. They can dictate the rhythm of the game. So I believe a Rodri would be a very good fit for Real Madrid. And we've been hearing rumors before now that Real Madrid are showing interest in Rodri. In fact, we have players like Cavallero who have been talking to Rodri if he can join them at Real Madrid. So that conversation has always been there. So it would be nice if Rodri can go to Real Madrid. But the issue is the issue of fitness. If Rodri can be fit, we know what Rodri can do, because this fitness issue is my concern.
At Madrid, he doesn't need to play 80 games a year. Like, he can play 40 games and be fine at Madrid. Just competitively, like, is Rodri really needed against Elche away or Levante at home? Like, no, they can preserve him. Unlike Man City, I feel like there's a lot more variance in the league in terms of, how fit he needs to be. So it'll be interesting to see him go to Madrid. I'd be scared. I think that they would instantly transform. He also brings a certain level of respect in the locker room that he can go to Mbappe and be like, I've won a Ballon d'Or, you haven't. Act in line. I feel like Madrid needs as well. And Mbappe, I feel like, would be receptive to that. He just doesn't have the head guy who's bigger than him in the locker room right now. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm excited to see them play just as a football fan next year. Let me close out with our standard questions. Number one, what was your favorite goal of the day? Was it in the Manchester United Nottingham game? Was it in the Brentford Palace game? Was it in Newcastle West Ham? Number two, Paris, Somerville or Bowen? Where do you think they end up next season? Do you think they're going to jump West Ham, assuming West Ham gets relegated? And number three, Jose Mourinho, Rodri, Real Madrid. Are they going to back up? Are they going to go back up to the top of Europe next year? Let us know your thoughts. Thank you for listening.